Welcome to Liz's studio, and this is kind of an extension of something I did a few weeks ago about Kat's necklace and a whole theory on that. This is a dive into the whole series of revelations in the last episode, episode 9. So yeah, let's just get into it. And welcome to Liz's studio. If you haven't watched The Way Home, you totally should. It's an amazing series. Definitely worth your time. So obviously people have a lot of questions about exactly what happened at the end of episode 9 with the whole car crash and everything. Like, how does Kat exist in two places at the same time? Like, how can she be the young girl at the cafe with Brady and also be basically what kills him? How can she be both of those? Big takeaway for me in this episode is Colton can time travel. Let's think about the possibility of that, okay? So I've been wondering, time travel, the pond, Alice and Kat, how does that even work? Like, is it genetic? Is it through the daughters? You know, which family line does it go through? Is it through Dell? Is it through Colton? And we kind of got our answer, because it has to be through Colton, right? Because theoretically, if it was Dell, she would have done it by now. She hasn't appeared. They have one trip left, which is the funeral. So it's pretty clear that Dell doesn't time travel. So where did they get this power from? And it says that the land has been in his family for generations. So the woman who hops in the pond, originally the White Witch, she's probably a relation of Colton's and not Dell's. I think we were all thinking the women in the family, obviously, but it's more likely that it's Colton's line. So think about the possibility that Colton can time travel. It would make sense on why he would know Kat, and also think if he can time travel, maybe that visit in the living room with Dell where he dances with her isn't a dream. Maybe it's real. As much as their interactions of the past, as much as any of it's real, I mean, it's time travel. Okay, we're accepting that those are reality, okay? What if it wasn't a dream sequence? You know, Kat has wine with her mom, they're listening to a record, whatever. Kat goes upstairs, Dallas downstairs, kind of going through all the memories and processing, and she closes her eyes and leans back, and then she looks up. There's no fade, there's no transition. It's clean. And we're like, oh, it's a dream. It's a dream that he's back, and that's just her processing and letting go. What if it's not? What if he actually was there? Just like Kat pops in and out. You know how he says at the end, you know, give us a shot, I'm gonna win you back.
Tomorrow, you and me, we're gonna sit at that table and I'm going to tell you everything. We can't get this back.
I have to go. Just like Alice says at the beach in like episode 2 or 3, when she has to leave the party, she's like, oh, I have to go. And I'm like, why? Do you have somewhere else you need to be in this time? He says he has to go. And he leaves.
What?
I'm sorry.
Why?
And it's the winter moon.
Don't forget about the snow moon tonight.
Day, the night he dies. Just like Alice lives through reality in 1990 and the present was part of his past, if that makes sense. And I don't think that dream sequence was actually a dream sequence. I think he actually came back through there, because like that dream sequence, she doesn't wake up, he just leaves. It's not like Kat comes downstairs and sees her dad. I think it's a possibility that that's not a dream sequence, and that actually is Colton traveling back to say goodbye to Dell. So it also makes sense on how he knew who Kat was.
My Catherine.
He knew that was his daughter when she grew up. like 20 plus years later. Okay, so the whole how can Kat be at two places or what really killed Colton thing. Okay, so obviously spoilers if you haven't seen the episode. There's gonna be a whole lot of information in this thing that is gonna essentially ruin your viewing experience. So please watch the episode before you watch this. Basically at the end of the episode, Kat again is trying to change the past. She's trying to go back and make it so her dad doesn't die, or at least sees how he dies. So against the wishes of all the people she holds close and loves. I know a lot of people get frustrated with Kat not being able to let go of the past, not being able to give up on time traveling and trying to fix the past, but that is as much a part of her character as anything else. The very relentless, stubborn determination that makes her good at her job also makes her relationships very difficult. Anyway, so end of 9, she goes back to 2000 to try and prevent her father's death. Well, Alice tries to stop her. I did get a wish in this episode. I've been wanting Alice and Kat to time travel together since they both have the ability. I'm like, I want them to hop the pond at the same time. I want to see them go through something, an adventure, whatever, together. This was not necessarily the scene I would have picked. So devastating. Wouldn't have necessarily been my first choice. I think it was still beautiful, but I was kind of hoping for a happier one, but that was kind of a dream. But I did get my wish of them both time traveling together. The end of 9, Kat's time traveled back to 2000 to try and save her dad, Kat, and then Alice has joined her. They argue, and then Alice is like, no, we can't do this, we have to go back home. Kat's like, no, we can do this, we can do it, we can do it. And then you see Colton's pickup, and you're like, that's how he dies. And I think we all kind of knew that's why he was gonna die. Alice is in the middle of the road, Kat dives to save Alice, Colton swerves, hits a bull, and dies. Needless to say, a very tragic scene. I loved how they muted Kat's scream. I think it would have been too much if you would have actually heard her. But you can feel it, like absolute devastation and horror, and like Elliot was saying, living through the worst days of your life twice is insane. People are like, okay, so what actually happened? Did Kat kill her father? And how can she exist, you know, in two places at one time? She's one person, she only can exist once. Well, honestly, all rules of reality as we know it are thrown out the window when you have a time traveling pod. So, as far as I understand, and my take on it is yes, in short, Kat killed her father. Not on purpose. It was a choice. He chose to save her and Alice. He chose to save his daughter and future granddaughter. Yes, it was technically unnecessary because Kat diving probably would have pushed her out of the way and he probably would have missed them. But honestly, the sacrifice and love they show for each other by being willing to die for each other is beautiful. Like, Kat, it starts with Alice. Alice is willing to risk her life to save her mom, to go time travel when the pond could freeze over and they could be stuck back in time, or to save her mom from getting hit by her grandpa. And then Kat being willing to die to save Alice by diving across the road to save her. And ultimately Colton running into a pole to save both of them. It's not ideal, but death of a loved one is never ideal. And essentially Kat kills him. And now, how can Kat kill him if she's dating Brady and on a date with Brady in 2000 as a, 16-year-old, 17-year-old or whatever, and also be Kat as like a 35, 40-year-old person who kills him? How can she exist in both timelines? I can't tell you the science. I'm just telling you it's real in the sense that Kat and Alice time travel to the future from the perspective of 1990 and 2000 into the past. They're traveling to the past now. So I'm trying to make this clear, but it's kind of tough. What I'm saying is Kat going back now happened in the past, just like her bike being at the fair when Jacob died occurred in the past. She was there. She's always been part of the timeline. She's not adding to 1990. She's not changing the past by being there now. She was there originally in 1990. She was there in 2000. She was there, whether you saw her or not. And it's already been established that she can exist in two forms, because the first scene she sees Alice back with her young self in the field, there she is existing in two places at once. It's not that she can't exist in two places at once. It's basically the short and long of it. She exists in two places at once. She's driving home with Brady and also the cause of Colton's death indirectly. Obviously in 1990, she doesn't know what she does in the future, I guess, if that makes sense. They're disconnected. Alice essentially accidentally killed Colton. Maybe you have a different take on it. If you do, I would like to hear it. It's the only one I can think of that makes some sort of sense. Okay, favorite moments from the episode. Honestly, the second therapy session with Colton is out of this world. Obviously amazing acting throughout the whole episode, but their performances in that scene were really special. I feel like the writing is really good in this show. Like Kat says, her being able to go back to the past, she's hearing everything she needed to hear all those years ago. She's hearing it now.
Yeah, that's all I want. Just 5 more minutes.
All the things she wished she could have said to her dad, or that her dad would have said to her, she's hearing now. She's healing by going through it again. And it's obviously opening up, tearing up wounds, throwing salt on them. It's extremely painful for her. But I feel like, especially for her particular personality and character, it's extremely necessary. But second therapy session, wow. When he tells her how much he loves her while she's there, that's everything. My favorite scene of the whole episode is probably in the pickup. When she tells him and she gets up the nerve to open up to him.
Down a path that gave me my greatest gift. I have a daughter.
I'm so glad to hear it.
About her daughter. And it's such a big deal because the first time we really see her talk to her dad is when she talks to him at his grave. And she's like, hey dad, it's been a while, I know, but I was gonna let you know I have a daughter, and she's smart and she's funny and she's just like you, and I wish you could have met her. In that pickup scene, she's given a chance to tell her dad about her daughter. And Alice does meet him, and it's really cool. I mean, it's beyond cool. It's very moving that she finally got to be able to do that, to have that moment with him, to tell him how much his death affected her world, her family, how it tore them apart, how it left a hole inside of her, everything. she really gets to deal with it now. She's feeling and telling about it. Obviously the death scene is a big deal, but that is so crushing that I can't even handle. I feel like in this scene it was really cool to see Alice at the end kind of take over and protect her mom after mom protected her for so long. You know, Kat basically goes into physical shock after her father's death, which is understandable. I can't imagine going through that. You would go into shock. And yet Alice stays, I guess, stable enough to be able to get them both out of there soon enough so that they're not recognized by anyone. When she like puts her hand out and is like, you have to come with me and everything like that. Like, that's a really cool moment too. Speaking of Alice and Kat, they are my favorite or second favorite dynamic and relationship in the whole show. The scene that really sold me on the show, and when I would say I fell for the show, is the scene when Kat leaves a voicemail for Alice.
Allie, it's me. Please, just come home.
Basically, you know, I'm sorry we moved here, it was a mistake, but we can fix it. Just come home. You're my everything. I feel like the twin of that scene, for Alice, from Alice's point of view, is in this episode. When she asks her mom to be there with her, to be present with her now, to not romanticize the past anymore and not to live in the past and not be like, oh, we were best friends. No, I need you now. I need my mom. I think it's like the bedroom scene when she asks her to stay over. She's like, I miss you. Not the you in the past, not being best friends in 1990, not being teenagers together, but I miss you, my mom, now. And it's a parallel of like episode 5 when Brady comes back into town and Kat talks to Elliot in the schoolyard and she's like, what does Alice think of all of this? And he's like, she thinks you're amazing. And she's like, no, she thinks the teenage me is amazing. The mom me continues to disappoint her. And he's like, but they're both you. And that's the point. They are both Kat. She kind of just needs to discover that about herself and to unbury that spark. And I think Alice and the whole family and Ellie and everything else really does do that to Kat. Kat is not becoming what she was. She never will be, and she's grown from that point, but heals some of the pain she's been through. She's got an awful lot of demons. I think that a big part of it is Alice. It's a very big moment for her to say, I miss you for being my mom, not the teenage Kat, but you. I need and connect and love you as my mom, not as my teenage best friend. When she basically exposes Elliot and Kat is like, you've been lying to me, how can you be helping her? You know this isn't gonna help anyone. She's like, no, stay here with me. You have to trust me that this is worth it, that this is where you're the most needed. And she does stay. Yes, she does hop in the pond later, but I feel like she couldn't really resist it. She kind of had to. As much as she kind of wanted to stay, she wanted to be there for Elliot. She wants to prove that she's going to stay in Elliot's life, that she's there for the long game, that they're not just a thing from the past. And I feel like that's going to be a big theme in the next episode, obviously. Elliot's going to have some trust issues with her basically saying she's not going to go back, and then she does. I just hope Kat obviously convinces him that she's there for the long game too, and she's there for the long haul, not just friends from the past or trying to recreate something from then, which I think she will be able to do. But it'll be interesting because I feel like for the majority of the season we've really seen Elliot's perspective on their relationship, and obviously him adoring and loving her for a very long time. And Elliot, you know, just kind of being that nerd in the corner watching the girl he likes. And now we're kind of seeing Kat's point of view in the whole relationship, which has been sprinkled in for a while, but I think it's really gonna up her game and her commitment to the relationship and how much she wants it, not just him. The whole, you know, he fell first, she fell harder thing. Yeah, I would say them favorite takeaways from this episode: finally getting some closure on Colton, learning that he's a time traveler and that it's genetically bloodline is through his family and not Del's. So Del, 99% sure can't time travel. Lots of amazing scenes between Elliot and Alice and Kat, and lots of amazing scenes between Kat and Elliot and Alice and Kat and just the whole family in general. Colton and Kat, especially the pickup scenes, the therapy scenes, those were really amazing. Really amazing. Every week I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so good. And I'm sad that it's the finale this week, but I feel like every episode my expectations have gotten higher, and every week they've managed to hit them and exceed them. So very impressed with the show so far. I am obsessed. It is my new obsession. That's a wrap on my way home. Theory session / review. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get the channel to 1,000 subs, so I would greatly appreciate it. And if you watch the show and love the show, please let me know in the comments. And if you have any theories about Kat or Colton's time travel abilities, and also whether or not she can exist in 2 timelines, let me know in the comments and we can exchange some theories. Have a great day.